right, well, welcome back to the penultimate video in this 36 Ford series I'm working on. Penultimate means is the second to the last. The next video will be the last one you'll see on this car. I see it's been a year or more since I put a video out on this thing, and that does not seem possible, but here we are. So over the last year, I guess, I have done quite a bit of work. As you can see with the opening shots, the car is running and driving now, and it's almost done with the exception of painting a couple of fenders and the hood. But the rest of it's essentially done. A couple of knickknacks I got to work on, bleeding the brakes, putting the bumpers on, exhaust tips, you know, stuff like that. But essentially it's done. So what have I done over the last year? Well, paint and interior work was the majority of it. We bought 6 cows, two different colors of brown, and I did all the interior work myself. I made patterns out of paper or out of vinyl, and then transferred those patterns once I thought they were good enough to leather, and I sewed everything together and created a nice interior for this. And then the paint work, we spent quite a bit of time sanding and painting stuff. Got most of it done. Like I mentioned, the front fenders, the front hood needs to be painted. I ran out of weather. It got too cold to keep painting, so come next spring I'll finish that off. But other than that, I'll show you some of the shots of us working on this thing. This car is just about ready to be put on the road permanently.
Yeah, shoot, I was going to try to cover this.
Just temporarily.
Okay, won't be permanent.
Goes up and over that center thing.
Oh,
Clear cut out there, okay. It goes right up to there. And I think you grab one of those holes.
okay, what am I hitting? Hitting something.
Oh, are you hitting those washers?
I don't know what I'm hitting.
I bet you are. So, here, I got this one. Let me see what that looks like.
You got it?
Yep. Okay, so that's exactly what it is. We encountered that last time. Was it the plate underneath there? Let me pull that plate off. Probably good to have one more squirting gas. Alright. So. Okay, try it again. Wait just a second. Pump it a few times. Okay, go ahead. See this stuff.
All right, so I'm installing a test headliner. This is a headliner that I'm sewing together, but I'm sewing it out of a cheaper vinyl just to test my pattern. I'm creating patterns out of paper on each section, transferring it to this vinyl, sew this together. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to make some changes if I have to tighten it up, re-sew a few seams, make some alterations. Once I know that I have it, then the whole thing's going to come out. I'm going to take it apart and transfer the finished product, each panel, to leather. We're going to put a leather interior in this, but I didn't want to create the first version out of leather, mess it up, and end up wasting money. So that's what I'm doing. I'm installing the test headliner right now. All right, we're working on the tack strip. I'm working on the interior of this thing, and I'm prepping the car for the headliner. So to do that, I'm going to replace all the tack strip. It's just completely brittle and hard. The tack strip is a rubber or asphalt rope or strip in here that your windlace gets stapled to. The windlace is that big fat kind of a bead, a piping bead that runs right here, and you'll staple it. The first thing you do is you staple it to the tack strip all the way around the door, and then you'll lay down a kind of a tack bar. There's a shark tooth bar that your headliner comes around and goes under, and then the windlace covers that gap right there. I'll show it to you when we get to it, but the first thing is I'm going to replace the tack strip, and the way you do that is you just lift up these tabs and pry it out, and then you can either buy the proper tack strip stuff, or you can just use old belts, engine belts, just anything for staples to stick into. And this is free because these are off of I never throw away any of my belts because I use them for other things, and this is one of them. You just lay that in there, bend those down, and then I can staple into that strip. So that's what I'm working on now. So we're out here working on the windlace, which wraps these doors. It's a big fat piping that screws on or staples on to the edge of the door here. And then at the top here, where the headliner comes down, we're using this kind of this gripper plate. It's a upholstery plate that screws on. You wrap the headliner into it, and then you push this tab down. It's got shark teeth on there that grab the headliner. And that's how you finish out the doors. As you can see, I've already insulated the roof I got a little bit of sound deadener up there, and then I've got this insulation which has been stapled and glued in. That'll kind of keep the, you know, some of the heat too, but I was kind of worried about echo. I wanted to not have this sound like you're inside of a drum when you're driving down the road. So that's what that's going to be for. Anyway, onward and upward. So here is what we started with. I had a set of 1983 Firebird seats that we were going to use for this car. And these seats, you know, they don't look like something out of the 30s, and they're very uncomfortable. At least they are now, being kind of broken down. So I decided to completely tear them apart and refoamed them, made a leather pattern to make them look more appropriate to a 30s car. And this is what we ended up with. Kind of a subtle two-tone leather, kind of plain. Didn't want a lot of style, or didn't want a lot of stitching in the between it. I wanted it to look like it'd be kind of something out of the 30s. So this is what we ended up with. All right, so I'm taking off the burlap from the springs on this back seat, because it's all original and it's all pretty nasty. Super dusty, super moldy, a lot of rat turds, that type of stuff. So we're getting rid of all the burlap. I'm gonna repack it with foam, wrap it in burlap again. I'm gonna repair some of the springs. Got a few broken pieces, got some bent round bar. Repair the seat, and then we're gonna rebuild it and eventually cover it with leather. That's what we're working on.
Look in here.
A few more minutes.
5 minutes?
5 minutes.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. 5.
That was 5 seconds. I said 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right, we have the seat spring cushion all cleaned up. Took off all the burlap, repaired about 6 or 8 broken springs and connection points. Then I bought a piece of round bar for this front edge. This front edge had been sat on for, you know, decades and decades, and was kind of warped and weak. So
Daddy.
I put a new round bar on this front edge.
Daddy.
And then lastly, we're gonna encapsulate all these rear springs with some foam. That keeps the springs from clicking together when you sit down. I'll do that last before we wrap the whole thing in burlap. What, sweetie?
There's mail over on the sidewalk. We need to go get it.
Well, you better go look at it.
Yes, come on. Come on, Dad.
Be there in a minute.
Okay. Friggin' bump! Do your foot
All right, putting in this headliner that I sewed together and created. It's a leather headliner that's going to match the seat covers I made. So my dad's under the weather today, so I'm working on it by myself right now.
Yeah. Dad. Ta-da!
Looks good. Good job, Pixie.
Oh no, look. Look here.
I'll put a piece of tape over it.
Okay. Oh no! It's all broken. I think I have to fix it all.
Fix it all.
Huh?
You better fix it.
Well, you don't have enough tape. And 14.
Okay, we're working on door panels today. What I did is I made a paper template of the door, the size, and where all the attachment holes were, as well as holes for the window crank and the door handle. And we transfer that to 1/8 inch particle board. And then I drilled out all the attachment holes, and remember to offset them. The actual hole in the door is offset from the hole in the panel by the amount of this little clip here. Next, I'm going to enlarge the holes in the door a little bit because these are pretty big clips. So I'm going to drill out the holes a little bit, and then we'll attach that panel. Alright, there's our door panel. And then we have the little kick panel here, which goes up here. Then next, I'll draw a few lines across the bottom and the center for my pattern for the carpet in 2 shades of leather. And then we'll sew it together and glue it on. Yeah.
Look at my bucket tuner.
Hmm.
Look at my bucket tuner.
It's over there by the fence, isn't it?
But look, it's dirty.
Oh, you dropped it.
Uh-huh. That's cool. That's cool.
All right, well, I'm sanding the doors tonight. This is a wet sand over my second coat of sandable primer, surfacer primer. I did it earlier this week, sanded everything down, sprayed it again, mainly I'm trying to get out just a handful of little pinholes and a couple of just minor inconsistencies in the body filler. And so I'm going to sand this down tonight and then maybe get some color on these things, maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
Well, thanks for tuning in. That's the latest video on this 36 Ford project. I will record us finishing the paint and body on the front and the few knickknacks, and we will get a video up at some point in the future that you can watch it driving off into the sunset. Thanks for tuning in. Check you later.